Welcome to the Journal Editorial Report. I'm Paul Gigot. Well, that didn't take long. Within hours of Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney naming Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan as his running mate, so-called GOP professionals began to fret over the choice, according to the Beltway website Politico. Reaction from Republican strategists and campaign operatives ranged from, quote, gnawing apprehension to hair-on-fire anger. Former George Bush advisor Mark McKinnon was one of the few to go on the record, saying, I think it's a very bold choice and an exciting and interesting pick. It's going to elevate the campaign into a debate over big ideas. It means Ryan can run on principles and provide some real direction and vision for the Republican Party, and probably lose, maybe big. Joining the panel this week, Wall Street Journal assistant editorial page editor James Freeman, editorial board member Joe Rago, and Washington columnist Kim Strassel. So, Kim, I want to get to the worrywarts in the GOP in a minute. But first, it's been a week since the Ryan pick. How's it going so far?
It's going great for them. I mean, this is exactly what Mr. Romney wanted to do. He had up until this point been running a referendum campaign against Barack Obama, hitting him every day with these things that are real liabilities for the president, the jobs numbers, the economy, all the things that people don't like about his administration so far. But he wasn't winning on that. So the idea here was to go big, make a big contrast by providing a real choice. And so far, the amount of attention they've got, that is clearly playing out for them, and it offers them a lot of opportunities going ahead.
Kim, one of the worries by some Republicans was that Paul Ryan, we know he's a policy wonk, he's a detail guy, he gets in the weeds, and that's not the kind of stump speech, that doesn't make a good stump speech, that sort of thing. How is he doing at handling the larger themes of the campaign and serving as an attacker of President Obama?
Look, the real reason Paul Ryan is the success he is because he is excellent at explaining those big themes. This is why he's won in his district, back in a competitive district in Wisconsin over and over. He can talk about entitlement reform. He can talk about fiscal issues. He can talk about tax policy and tax reform. And that has clearly been his role over this past week for the campaign, to go out there and make the big contrast and say to people, look, you don't need to fear these changes. We're in a big issue problem here, and these are the plans that we have to make it better.
Does seem to have given Mitt Romney some energy. He's better on the stump. It seems to me, at least just watching him in the last few days, more passionate, more engaged, seems really more confident even, not on his back foot so much.
And the same can be said of his voters. You look at all the enthusiasm now. In terms of energizing the Republican base, I think there's an argument that Barack Obama was already doing that. But I think what you see with Ryan is the chance to turn some voters into real evangelists. And I think you also have, for independents, remember, they're as upset about the economy and almost as upset about it and Mr. Obama's performance as the people who are already identifying themselves as Romney voters. So Paul Ryan talking about growth, talking about economic progress, I think it's a good message.
What's the Democratic line of attack going to be against Ryan, Joe?
Well, look, it's going to be that he's heartless, that he is pitting children with autism against millionaires and billionaires.
Because of the reductions in the budget.
Right, exactly. But the thing is, it throws off the Democratic game plan. They thought Romney was going to pick just some boring old guy. And
I take offense at that.
They were gonna run about on Mitt Romney the millionaire, and did he kill somebody's wife or not? And now they're being forced to make an argument really on the direction of the country.
It does seem to have changed the debate and set the Democrats off their game a little bit, Kim. Although they're going to still come back, I assume, with this spending cuts campaign. Is there a danger here that Ryan and Romney will fall into the austerity trap, and that instead of pushing growth, they'll talk, as James stressed, they'll talk about spending cuts and shrinking the government and so on, which for a lot of these swing voters that James mentioned, that's not the message that they want to hear. What they want to hear is, how are you going to improve my life, my circumstances, and give me more opportunity?
Yeah, and that is exactly what the Democrats are going to try to do to him. They're going to present them as the downer campaign, the guys who just want to take everything away from you. There's no upside. Now, you saw Mr. Ryan in particular begin to address this week, and he did start talking about growth. He made the argument. He's like, look, people are going to, he actually addressed, he said people are going to focus on the cuts that we have proposed. But the important thing is we are fundamentally, first and foremost, here to improve the economy, make sure you have jobs, get revenues up. And if we can do that, then some of these cuts are more manageable. We need to focus on that first. And that is a message they need to stress more.
What about these Republican worry warts with Ryan? What is it? These are Beltway sources, we should say. These are people who, play conventional politics.
Fingers in the wind. I think they'll come around. You look at the enthusiasm, and I think people will start to appreciate that what Mr. Romney has said with this pick is that he's serious about governing and about improving the country. He's not just trying to win because he's the other guy and Obama's done a terrible job. He's saying we're going to turn away from the cliff. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about reviving America and rejecting this new normal idea. And I think that is going to have broad appeal beyond conservatives.
What are you hearing, Joe, from your sources? Is there a lot of anxiety among Republicans, or is this just sort of the Washington phenomenon?
Look, it's definitely a Washington phenomenon, but the issue is, why are you in government? What do you want to do? Do you actually want to fix the problem, or do you just want to string the problem along for years as we've been
don't
doing?
Dodge the debate, engage it directly. That's what Ryan's trying to do, solve problems, and if that's what elections should be about.